First of all, thank you and welcome to our presentation on higher purpose. How do leaders live out their faith in their sphere of influence? The higher purpose given to all Christians is really to carry out the Great Commission. Seek ye first the kingdom of God is basically what we are supposed to do while we're on the planet. We've decided to select some leaders who have definitely walked this out. We are going to be covering Hobby Lobby, Mother Theresa, Chick-fil-A, and John Maxwell. Hobby Lobby's story, as shared in Leadership Not by the Book, is actually one of my favorite leadership books. The story of a business that started at home with a borrowed $600 that went to 1,000 stores in 48 states and employing over 46,000 people is impressive. Even more impressive, though, is the fact that they really used biblical principles to guide every single decision in their business. They indicated that God was the CEO, and so they literally put all of it in his hands, closing on Sundays. They eventually gave away something like 1 billion gospels around the world. They're really huge on giving away Bibles. They support restorative justice programs such as prison fellowships, and they give back at least 50% of profits. That is literally putting biblical principles to action, standing by what you say you're going to do, and serving. And those are the principles that I was really impressed with by looking at this company. There are so many beautiful scriptures that I think of when I think of the work of Mother Teresa. But Ephesians 3:17-19 is one that I really feel touches on the love she felt for humanity. That Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith, that ye, being rooted and grounded in love, may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth and length and depth and height, and to know the love of Christ, which passeth knowledge, that ye might be filled with all the fullness of God. Mother Teresa was actually born in Macedonia and immigrated to India when she was 18. She actually left home at that time and never saw her mother and sisters again. That's definitely a supreme sacrifice. Along the way, she started an order of missionaries of charity. She spent her life living amongst and serving the poor. And she is really one of my favorite leaders. I really have an affinity for her. When I started studying her, I realized she seemed to do it with such passion, but also consummate humility. I actually took the time to find some of her quotes. Her leadership philosophy is in it. She said, "Do not wait for leaders. Do it alone, person to person." She also said something that I really, really absolutely love. Joy is the net of love by which you can catch souls. When you talk about fishermen of men and you feed someone, you give them something to drink, you're feeding more than just their bodies. You're showing that someone cares for them. And that is really the light of Jesus on earth. Greenleaf defined 4 principles of servant leadership: listening, empathy, healing, and self-awareness. And of course, there are many more principles that leadership gurus along the way have cited, such as authenticity, strong communication skills, integrity, compassion, empowerment, continuous improvement, and putting others first. In my opinion, Mother Teresa's life work exhibited all of these characteristics and then some. Sinek also indicated that servant leadership is basically thinking of others instead of yourself, and she certainly exemplified that beautiful aspect. One of the true marks of leadership is how well you leave succession. It's a beautiful thing to impact the world, but to actually create something that lives past you is amazing. Mother Teresa created an entire ministry that continues to this day, helping people around the world. The next leg of our journey will be presented by Shelbie Thompson. It's another story involving food, one of my favorite topics, and it's probably about someone you know but you don't know.
Hello, my name is Shelbie Thompson, and today I want to share with you the story of a leader whose life shows us the power of faith, humility, and purpose in leadership. This is the story of S. Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, a man who rose from humble beginnings to create not just a business, but a legacy of values-driven leadership. As you listen, I invite you to reflect on this question: what kind of legacy will my leadership leave behind? S. Truett Cathy grew up in poverty, helping his mother in the kitchen while she ran a boarding house. As a boy, he sold soft drinks in his yard and delivered newspapers. After serving in the military, he and his brother opened a small diner, the Dwarf Grill, which eventually became the birthplace of the Chick-fil-A sandwich. Cathy's story reminds us that leadership often begins with small, faithful steps. What small opportunities in your own life could grow into something meaningful if you committed to them consistently? Cathy once said, "I see no conflict whatsoever between Christianity and good business practices." His decision to close Chick-fil-A on Sundays reflected his commitment to faith and family over profit. While controversial, it demonstrated that conviction can guide business choices. So think about this. What values are so important to you that you would not compromise them, even if it cost you success by the world's standards? Cathy left behind a legacy, and in that legacy were 3 powerful lessons. Number 1, never lose humility. Despite Cathy's success, he always served others. Number 2, never lose the value of family. Cathy believed that work should never overshadow relationships. And number 3, never lose your sense of calling. Cathy also believed that everyone has a unique purpose, and living it out with integrity creates meaning. Which of these 3 lessons, humility, family, or calling, speaks most to you as a leader, and why? Cathy's leadership reflected biblical truths like humility, which can be found in Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. Working with integrity, which is identified in Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 and 24, and honoring rest, which is found in Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. Cathy's life also echoed John Maxwell's laws of leadership, such as influence, priorities, and addition. Cathy added value to others by serving them, investing in them, and leading with purpose. S. Truett Cathy's story challenges us to ask, what kind of legacy are we building? Leadership is not just about success, it's about service, values, and the impact we leave on others. So as you reflect today, consider this final question. How can I lead in a way that places faith, family, and service at the center of my influence. Hello, everyone. My name is Shelbie Thompson, and today I will be sharing with you on how John C. Maxwell incorporates his higher purpose in leadership. John C. Maxwell is a well-known expert on leadership, the author of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and a pastor with a strong faith-based background. He has taught millions of leaders all over the world, always using practical values-based leadership as a base for his message. Maxwell thinks that leadership is more about having an impact rather than having a job. He stresses the importance of personal growth, helping others, and living with honesty. Maxwell says, a leader is someone who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Maxwell's higher purpose comes from his Christian faith and the idea of being a servant leader. He says that being a leader means putting others before yourself. Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4 says, "Don't do anything out of selfish ambition or vain pride. Instead, be humble and put the needs of others before your own. Don't focus on your own needs. Instead, focus on the needs of others." Maxwell's founding of Equip, which has trained millions of leaders around the world, shows us this higher purpose. He talks about how being humble, having good character, and being an ethical leader can help people have a bigger impact. Robert Greenleaf's concept of servant leadership is comparable to that of John Maxwell's practices. He puts other people's needs before his own, builds community, and helps people grow. He has said the most important thing about being a leader is not how far we get ahead of ourselves, but how far we help others get ahead. Several of Maxwell's laws reflect this higher purpose, such as the law of influence, which states leadership is about impact, not title. The law of priorities, which states leaders must focus on what matters most. The law of addition, which states leaders add value by serving others. And the law of the big Mo, which states momentum drives growth. So what does this mean for us? As leaders, it's important to prioritize service ahead of recognition. Do what we say we'll do and help others. Think about this. How can you make sure that your influence serves other people instead of merely benefiting you? Maxwell's style of leadership is a combination of influence, purpose, and faith. He shares with us that being a leader is not about having power, but about caring for others. Here's something to think about. What is one thing that you can do this week to start adding a higher purpose to your leadership? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your attention during this presentation. We would love to share some interactive activities for you so you can think about your purpose and how that higher purpose can help you become the most amazing kingdom builder. Okay, it's been a little while, so get up and breathe first. Move around a little bit, get that energy going. Once you've done that, here's some interactive activities to get your mind and your spirit going in connection with this presentation. So who is your favorite example of a leader who was guided by their higher purpose and made a great impact on the world? Is it one of these leaders, or do you have another one to share? make a list of the characteristics they embody. After that, share your list with someone who has a first or last name with your first name's initial. See if you have any characteristics in common. If you can't find anyone with those particular characteristics, phone a friend, ask a classmate. But this is basically to get some interaction and get some bonding and get some creativity going. This is a great time to reflect on all that you've learned from this presentation, from this term. We've learned and assimilated a lot about leadership. How is that going to help you refine, define, or enhance your higher purpose? I can't wait to see your name in lights, but more importantly, I can't wait to see all the people you've helped.